This is a video on the wiring and current adjustment of the ELN-60-48D driver. Just a word of caution, you're going to be working with the driver case removed here. So if you're not competent or unsure of any step, competent with electricity I should say, or unsure of any of the steps, make sure you consult someone who knows what they're doing, like such as a licensed electrician. To do it yourself, make sure you're using an electrically insulated safety screwdriver. This is going to protect you in case you should accidentally touch anything inside. Protect you up to 1,000 volts, I believe, with one of these. You can get them at Home Depot or Canadian Tire, or we sell them on our website. I went ahead and already took the lid off here. They can be a little tricky to get off, but I find the easiest way is to get like a blunt dinner knife like this and just get it in a little groove right there and twist, and you should be able to get it off like that. So first of all, I'm going to do the wiring. I'm going to use the Scotch lock connectors. However, you might also be using one of the silicone sealed wire twisters. They work just as good. So first of all, I'm going to start on the input end where you've got the blue and the brown cables. Those are going to connect to my power cord right here. So the two cables on the power cord that we're interested in is the white and the black. Those are going to correspond to the blue and the brown, but it doesn't matter which way. You can go white to blue or white to brown, it doesn't matter because the current is alternating. If you're using these little silicone filled connectors, you just push both wires in, twist a couple times until it's secure. But I'm using the silicone filled Scotch lock power cord connector here, so I'm going to trim the stripped wire actually off, because this connector will actually strip the wires for me. So I've trimmed my wires off. So the black and the white from the power cord goes in one end, and the brown and the blue from the driver goes in the other end. Just push them in as far as they'll go. You can see on the bottom how far they've gone in. And then just using a pair of pliers, just apply some gentle pressure to this blue cap, and the blue cap will move all the way downwards. We need to press on it a few times like this to make sure that it's going all the way down. And once it's flush with the rest of the fixture, the little clear plastic here, then it's fully crimped. You can see on the bottom it crimps the little wires for you right there. Okay, so that's the power end. We're just going to ignore the ground power cord for now. I'll come back to that a little bit later. Next we'll move to the other end here. The black and the red is going to the LEDs, and the blue and the white is going to the dimmer. So I'm going to, first of all, I'm going to do the dimmer, so you're going to use your dimmer connector, which will go to the little dimmer here. There's a whole other video on the dimming components, which you're more than welcome to watch. Here we're just straightforward blue to blue, white to white. With these ones I don't need to trim anything. If you were using one of these little silicone filled connectors, it's advisable to strip a little bit more off the dimmer connector, just get a little better connection. But for these ones, you just push this blue in as far as it'll go, both of the blues. All the way in. You can check on the bottom, make sure they're all the way in. And again, using pliers, press down until the cap has moved all the way downwards, and both are nice sealed, and it floods the thing with silicone, so it's watertight. Now I'm going to do the white. Same thing, just driver cord in one end, dimmer cord in the other. Make sure they're all the way in. Press the yellow cap all the way down, and that's the dimmer cord now secured to the driver. Next we have the start connector from which is going to lead to the LEDs. Now on this one, at this time, you only want to connect the black. You don't want to connect the red at this time. So we'll get another little connector. So driver cord, black cord in one end, starter, black cord in the other. Make sure they're all the way in. One hand. Okay, so we've got 3 of them connected now, blue to blue, white to white, black to black. We're not going to connect the red at this point. This is where our multimeter is going to go in to test the current output of the driver, which is the next step. Okay, so we're ready to adjust the current of our driver now. Obviously, it's not plugged in yet. These are the multimeters that we're selling on the store. You want to set your multimeter up to measure current. On these ones, the red goes in the top and the black goes in the bottom. On your multimeter, if you can get these from Radio Shack or the Source. On your multimeter, you want to set it up for current measurement and turn it to 10A for 10 amps. It's going to show 0 because nothing is plugged in or connected right now. In our kits for multimeters, we give you some of these little crocodile clip cords. So what I've done is I've just connected, you can also get these at the Source or Radio Shack. I've connected the probes to the crocodile clips, and all you want to do is connect one of them to the red coming out of the driver. Screw it on like that, sure it's secure on there. And the other one goes on the red from the starter. The start connector, which is going to the LEDs. So all we've done is we've wired our multimeter in the circuit here between the 2 reds. Just like that. So, and make sure it's secure. So now, this is where we get lots of cables. So now I want to bring in my LEDs here, and I want to plug in my start connector. Make sure everything is still connected here. Now I want to connect the dimmer. As I said, there's another video on setting up the dimming circuit, which I won't cover. You can watch the other video. I'm just going to connect it to my dimmer here and power up my dim circuit. Okay, so I've got my driver connected to my dimmer. The dimming circuit has been powered up, and I've turned my dimmer all the way counterclockwise, which would be the maximum output. I've got my multimeter wired in here between the reds, and connected now to my series of cool white LEDs. The multimeter reads 0 and it's on 10 amps. I plug in the power cord. You should see the LEDs light up. And the multimeter currently reads 0.23, so that would be the amps, 0.23 amps, or 230 milliamps. I'm just going to cover the LEDs up here so it doesn't blind the camera. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, with my safety screwdriver, without touching anything inside this driver, I'm going to just locate that little white SER2 screw. And I'm going to very slowly turn it clockwise until I see about 0.9 on the multimeter. You never want to go above 1 because that will be the maximum current for the LEDs and it would blow them. So I'm going to slowly go up to 0.9. Okay, they're now at multimeter currently now reads 0.9 amps. 900 amps, milliamps, sorry. So that's as far as I want to go, so now I'm going to unplug the power cord. and powered on my dimming circuit, just so there's no current in the circuit whatsoever. Got to remove the multimeter. And I'm going to complete the wiring by connecting the two red cables together here with my little connector. Make sure we're all the way in. And now that's all the wiring complete. So it's pretty easy on this end, all red to red, black to black, white to white, blue to blue. Connect to my dimmer, connect to my LEDs here. I want to put the cap back on the driver. Before I put the screws back in, I'm just going to test to make sure that everything works. Power up my dimming circuit. Plug in the power cord. LED should come on here, and then I can just test the dimmer, turn it clockwise slowly, and it should slowly dim those white LEDs all the way down to off. There we go. Test the opposite direction. I can unplug it and also test the blues on the other circuit here, just to see those power up. And again, I can use my little dimmer here to turn them up and down. And that then concludes the wiring of the ELN-60-48D. As I said, the current adjustment is the difficult part. The wiring is pretty easy. Got our two connectors here and the four little connectors on this end, wiring them in. The only part left is the ground power connector, and you can connect that to one of our little ground power cables using these little wire twists. And this simply connects to either the side of the heatsink or some other metallic surface in your light pendant. That's just a safety mechanism. If there's ever a short circuit here or anything, it would trip your breaker rather than powering up the whole light fixture. So that's pretty much it. If you have any questions on how to adjust the current of this driver or wire it up, be sure to let us know.